What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today when I talk to you about Palantir, I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what's really moving it today, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. Starting off, Palantir is briefly red, but majority of the day it was red as a byproduct of the recent analyst rating. So I'm going to talk about that in a second. But 28.82 the high, 27.47 the low. So a lot of volatility. That'll make a little bit more sense once I go over the technicals, but a lot of big money is paying attention to Palantir. 38.7 million shares being traded, 41.5 is the average. As you can kind of see, these are some of the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. So you see some of the selling that really caused it to go down, and then you see institutions right here saying, fuck that, I'm buying the dip. And my apologies on the French, but 4.18 million and then 1.39 million. So I think Palantir can safely be said that it is now a buy the dip stock. So whenever it dips, people just need to buy it. Institutions are doing that and have been doing that for a very long time. So I want to go over some of the data points, what's really moving the market today and everything else. So retail sales came out today better than anticipated, so came in flat on a month-over-month basis. The forecast was negative. So right now the market's seeing that as extremely optimistic, and the market is somewhat normalized. So good data is truly causing the market to go higher, as what it should, not the inverse crap that has happened over this last little bit. And right now the market is truly seeing that there is a very strong likelihood of a cut for September, even though the writing's been on the wall for a while. But currently a 91.6% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut for the September 18th meeting, and this has gone up a little bit more, so a 55.7% likelihood of another 25 basis point cut for the November 7th meeting. You do have a lot of analysts starting to really bring this part up about a big broad market rotation. So I've brought this up in a couple of videos in the past on how the circumstances are really there, but now with back-to-back rate cuts, people are starting to really see at least a lot of abnormal volume starting to pick up, insinuating that a rotation is starting. So this is basically all the money that is sitting in money markets across all the big funds. So roughly around 6 trillion at record high numbers. And similar to what happened in 2020, transitioning to 2021, you saw that reduction. That is what people are kind of anticipating this time around, just magnified. And for those of you that are familiar with what happened to the market in 2021, you'll know that everything went up like crazy. So once again, this is where in the previous videos I've talked on Palantir, how based on the current technicals, they're kind of pointing to around like $34, $35. But if there is a influx of capital coming in due to this rotation, then this is where Palantir could easily hit record high numbers as far as prices and everything else like that. The only thing news wise that has come out after hours yesterday, they did announce their earnings date, and that is slated for August the 5th, Monday after hours. So I think that's generally good. Analysts are very optimistic. Looking right over here for the earnings. Currently, over the last 90 days, there has been 7 positive revisions to the earnings per share and then 2 negative. So once it gets closer to that date, I'll do a dedicated video all about that. But I feel like this upcoming earnings is going to be epic and really give it validation for it to be at that $30 range, if not a little bit higher. So I'm going to go over all of that. But first, what I'll do is I'll pop over to 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗧 and I will give you a overview. So this is the rating that came out. It was a increase. So it was previously 21, now it is at 22. It was a downgrade sell by Mizuho Greg, who has a 59% success rating. So I think just these negative ratings really spook the market because, like I've said in the past, Palantir and their evaluation from Wall Street is all over the place. So you have $35 the high and then $9 the low, all over the place. So in essence, I think just a lot of people don't really know what is coming next, coming from a larger standpoint. And based on a lot of the data, though, it does show that consumer spending is going to be increasing, which will fuel the broader market so much more, and really as a kind of a secondary byproduct, help many stocks such as Palantir propel higher. So That's kind of a quick basis of what all that is, but nonetheless, I feel like today's sell-off was very unjustified, and I think a lot of people just paid too much attention to a lot of these analysts. Although Greg does have a fairly good success rating, 59%, so for an analyst that's okay. But then again, in the past when I do bring this up, a lot of people just basically say that's kind of the same thing as flipping a coin, which is kind of true if you think about it. But aside from that, while I'm actually on here, the Elliott Wave Technicals will give you an update on that. It does have a pivot point of $25.30. For as long as it is above that, which right now it is, then it is anticipated to get between that 32.40 and 33.70 range. So I think that is absolutely on point and will be occurring sooner rather than later. Probably surrounding their upcoming earnings, in my opinion. So we'll just have to wait and see for that. Aside from all of that fun stuff, let's go over some data points, starting off with shorts. Shorts are doubtful about today, so they are increasing 218,000 shares. 4.13% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 79.63 million shares overall are being shorted. Utilization 2.76%, and then short score is 32.96. As I've stated, and I just want to be completely clear, I do not see Palantir being a squeeze play. I'm just bringing this up more so for analysis purposes, so kind of just be aware of that. Moving on to options, 25 million in calls, 6.24 million in puts. So a lot of money is getting into Palantir through options. And I think a little bit is kind of a very massive understatement. This is like next level stuff. And 48% of all the options being done today are optimistic and bullish. And of the call options that are being purchased, you do see a consensus for it to be above $30 by the end of this week. And then looking more so around next week, around the $32 range. And then looking at puts, you do see a consensus for it to be sub roughly around $27.50. So definitely the risk versus reward is very much in favor of upside rather than anything. And if this level of buying continues to happen from institutions, it can definitely be had, in my opinion, of course. With it right now at 28.56, it is pulling back slightly, but still within this range. So the R2 and the R3, 27.74 is going to be the next strong support that you'll definitely want to watch for Palantir to hold. On the flip side, 29.87 is going to be that next strong resistance / target, which as of late hasn't really touched that. The high so far, the 52-week high, is $29.30. So this one has not been touched right now. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. On the actual chart itself, still higher percentile. The Bollinger Band stochastic is considered overbought with it at around 87. No defined trend right now, and number of retail investors, or I guess individual investors, are starting to get out, and you can tell that based off of this right here. So all in all, a lot of still bullish data points. Even though it is and might pull back, I still feel like the broader trend is still very, very bullish. And in reality, we'll be able to hit that $30 sooner rather than later, like I said. So let me know your thoughts on Palantir. Have you been buying? Did you buy the dip? Did you sell? What did you do? And do you think that there is going to be that broad market kind of rotation as I mentioned with this? Because like I said, just generally, we know a lot of spec stocks and growth stocks during this time period from 2020 to 2021 went up like 3x. 4x, and some more in some circumstances. So I think there's a lot of opportunity if this does happen for Palantir to easily hit $50, if not a little bit more. So that might be a little bit too optimistic, but we'll just have to wait and see. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. Kick-ass deal. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.